Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you all doing good. In this video we have Hyundai i20 with us. So this is a petrol variant with 1.2 Kappa engine. i20 no longer gets it 1 liter turbocharged engine which it used to got, and also diesel got discontinued. So i20 is only available in petrol, that too 1.2 liter. It available in two transmission options. One is manual transmission and another one which is this one, which is IVT, which Hyundai used to call, but which is basically a CVT gearbox. So this is what you get in 2025. But if you want a 1 liter engine, it is available in N trim. Yes, that does make sense, since a sporty hatchback should also have a higher performance engine. So they only offer a 1 liter turbocharged engine in N-line variant. So now starting with the engine, this gets 1.2 liter 4-cylinder engine, Kappa engine they are calling this one, which is producing 83 horsepower and 150 Nm of torque. In this IVT variant, it is producing 89 horsepower, which is slightly more. I don't really know the reason for having higher output figures from an automatic transmission. Usually it's the other case. So the engine is very smooth and refined for the most part, and it gets vocal only past like 3000 rpm. Below 3000 it's very refined and smooth. But the thing is that this is not an outright performer by any means. The engine below 2000 rpm doesn't have that pep compared to the one which is going in front, which is Baleno. Baleno's 1.2 liter petrol engine is slightly better in terms of low and grunt, but Hyundai doesn't offer the same. This is more of a mellowish in this below 2000 rpm, but after you rev it past like 3000 rpm, it's get going. It's a very typical petrol engine that you would expect, but performance is not something very special or exciting about this 1.2 liter engine, but it is very refined, and for most part you won't notice the engine at all. Only if you rev it, you would be able to hear that, and the engine note is very sporty as well. So if you are pushing the car, the engine note is really good. Since it's a CVT gearbox, it doesn't have the traditional shift that you would expect, but it is very refined and the shifts are barely noticeable. In fact, there is no shift that is happening. Maybe I'll stop here and quickly do a 0 to 100 test. Let's launch. The launch wasn't great at all, but still the i20 is able to do 0 to 100 in like 14 seconds, which is okay. For an hatchback, it's not any sporty hatchback also, but the 1 liter engine would definitely do a lot better. Moving on to the transmission, you don't get any paddle shifters, which is sad, and in fact there is no shift that will be happening in the CVT gearbox. There is some kind of shift that you would feel, but this is more of a continuously variable transmission. That's what CVT means. So it doesn't have any physical shift feel to it. So for convenience, this is really good. So moving on to the steering, it is surprisingly good for handling as well as highway stability. Hyundai is always known for its light steering wheel, and this one is very similar. This is light, but the thing is that it has a lot of feel to it, which we usually don't see with Hyundai cars. They don't feel lively usually, but this one has a lot of feel to it. They have worked a lot in terms of chassis as well as steering. This has decent feedback. In fact, it doesn't feel any hairy or so. Previously it used to feel a lot, but now you would be quite confident pushing this car around the corners. So it's quite good in terms of chassis as well as the riding dynamics of the car. Comparing it with the first gen, second gen i20, this feels a lot more sporty-ish. Even though the engine isn't something very exciting, the steering and the chassis, especially the chassis, is what something very surprises me. It feels light and it feels a lot stiffer compared to the older car, which in fact it is. So coming to the suspension is soft and also has a slight firm edge to it. It's not super soft, but it is quite comfortable for the most part. Only in very bad roads you do hear some thump and the suspension do crash in those situations, but other than that it is quite comfortable. And also the highway stability of the car has improved a lot comparing with the previous generation i20. It has always been a light and a hairy car to drive, not like lower speed, but at very high speeds, the car was quite hairy. But in this generation, Hyundai has improved this a lot, and it feels a lot more stable. And if you don't really mind the engine or gearbox, this is a very fun car to drive. And the braking performance of the car is also nice. It's not weak and all. And also you get wider tires, which is 195 sections, and 16-inch wheels, which is good for a hatchback. And at highway speeds, as you can see, the car is very stable, and the steering also weighs up really nice. It has some heft to it now. And that's about the driving part of the car. For the most part, this is a quite comfortable and convenient car to drive, especially if you get this IVT. The interior of the car feels quite premium compared to other cars in the segment, mainly due to the design aspect of it. You do get a 10.1-inch touchscreen, which gets all the connected features, and a lot of stuff is there. And you do also get these physical buttons, which is always appreciated. And you do get some buttons like radio, media, and favorites also you can add, but the interface is not something that you would enjoy a lot. It's very oldish, I would say. It's not very modern or quite new. The UI is not something really great. And moving down, you have your air cons here. You also get your parking light here. It also has some blinking feature, which is nice. The materials up here is really good, but if you go down, it's quite hard, and it also feels a bit plasticky for my liking. But the design aspect is something very unique for this car. This car gets this nice trims all over. It also continues to the door pads, and door pads have some nice leather wrap to it. I don't think it's genuine leather, but it's quite soft here. And also switch gears are always Hyundai fashioned. It's quite good, and it's soft as well. You do get your power window switches here, and other basic functions that you always get. And here you get your traction control switch, drive mode switch, and you can change it from here. Currently it's in sport mode, and now it's in normal. So you get two drive modes and headlight level here. And that's about it. You don't get a paddle shifter, which is not something nice. This infotainment system is really good and nice and crisp, and it feels a lot like a BMW unit, and it is quite crisp as well. Now it's showing the car's odo, fuel efficiency, and a lot of other stuffs as well. It also gets a tire pressure monitoring system, as you can see, which is nice for the segment that this car in. It gets a lot of feature as well, and that's about it. And also you get a reverse parking camera, which I will show you, which also gets adaptive guidelines, but it does miss out on the 360-degree camera and a heads-up display. And the switches here are quite good, and the horn is good. Always Hyundai makes nice horns, and you don't get an auto-dimming rear view mirror, which is not nice. That too in this price point, that is quite surprising. And you do get a sunroof, nice, not something I like. And you get a nice sunglass holder. Here you don't get a mirror, which is surprising, but you get a ticket holder. Here you get a mirror, which is good. And glove box is decent size, and door pins are quite large and very accessible. They put a lot of thought on it. And the front seats are quite comfy, but I do feel like I'm having some under thigh issue. And here you get cubby holes and the armrest, you get it, which is not slidable. And you do get a wireless charger here, and you also get USB ports and a 12-volt charging socket, as well as USB and all those stuff. And the climate control unit is really good, nice and neat. It also get this physical button, which is always appreciated. In a go, this is a lot better compared to any like digital stuff that seems to be modern, but that doesn't work. And you also get some buttons here, which is nice. So that's about it. Overall, I think the design is something very unique to i20, and also you get Bose speakers at top end models. And cabin of the i20 feels premium for its segment, mainly due to its design. And features are not like namesake features, but they do have a premium and nice feel to it. And I think that's why the i20 costs a lot more compared to that car. And that's about the front seat. Let's go to the rear and check out that. Getting out of the car is quite easy. It's quite low as well. Coming to the rear, This doesn't have like great space to it, but you do get air cons. So the seat is set to my driving position. The rear space is not great at all. Baleno is a lot more spacious than this. At least it feels a lot more spacious, and the seat is quite low as well. So the rear is not really good. This is something quite tight, to be honest. And at least you get aircon and charging socket, and you do get fixed in this model, but at top end you do get adjustable headrests, and that's about the rear, which is not very spacious. If you want more space, you should probably go for Altros or Baleno, but for the fact this is the widest and the longest car in the segment, but still the rear seat space is not i20's 40. The space at the rear is quite good, but the loading lip is quite high. You also get a partial shelf, which is nice, but the boot is not the biggest in the segment, even though this is the biggest car in the segment. And this is how the rear looks. Let me show you how the side looks. So that's about it. The tail lamps and the headlamps looks really good, and in this red the car is looking really good. But this is not the top end, as you can see. It gets halogen headlamps. Otherwise you would be getting LED stuffs, but still the indicator would be an halogen, and I think the car looks really good. The third generation i20 definitely looks a lot more sharper, but even though it is wider and longer, it does feel small, mainly due to its sharper design that they have gone for. That is not something I would appreciate. In fact, I think the older generation i20 feels a lot bigger compared to what it is, but this one feels smaller. But this is like the longest and widest car in the segment. The problem with the i20 is that it doesn't have the great road presence that the old one or the other cars in the segment had, which I think is one of the reasons it's not selling that well. i20 has become a lot more expensive compared to the previous generation, but you do get a lot of stuff for it. On a whole, I think i20 is a premium and comfortable hatchback if you're looking for one. If you want the comfort and performance, you should go for i20 N-Line. If you want a cheapest automatic, Baleno is a lot more cheaper. AMT is cheaper than CVT any day. i20 was a very appealing choice back then when it was launched. It had a 1.5 liter diesel. Just imagine this car having a 200 Nm torque engine. That would be great, but they discontinued it due to the emission norms. So the diesel is gone, and it also no longer gets its 1 liter engine, which is only available in N-Line. So the only engine option that you could buy is this 1.2 liter Kappa engine, which is not exciting. So on a whole, I think i20 is a really nice family car, even though you don't get that much space in the rear. If your primary concern is space in the rear, then you should probably consider Altros or Baleno. If you want the cheapest car with the most number of features, you should probably go for Baleno. Baleno will be appealing for a lot of you, since it offers a lot of value for money. But i20 is one for those who are looking for comfort and convenience, which is the forte of the i20. If you don't really care about the pep of the engine or the gearbox, this is quite a good handling car as well. Even at higher speeds, this car feels a lot more planted than it used to be. I think this is one of the nicest handling car in the segment. So as far as handling is your concern, this is quite good. You would be quite happy with it. And that's my take on new i20. Hope you guys like it. See you in the next video. Bye bye.